What's up, you guys? Welcome to the December 29th edition of NBA 3-Ball presented by Establish the Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. Getting ready to talk some NBA basketball for the next 10 minutes. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And we'll be doing this every weekday. And as you see here, we've got the Memphis depth chart up. And it's because we've got bad news. And that's the headline today is Ja Morant had a left ankle sprain. No break, which is good. X-rays were negative. Possible high ankle sprain, according to In Street Clothes Jeff Stotts' great work on Twitter. He'll be getting an MRI. You've got to think he's going to miss time. It looked horrible. He went off the court in a wheelchair and was in pure agony. So Morant doesn't really have a history of ankle sprains as far as his college and pro career goes, so that's a good sign. But yeah, given the nature of the injury and how he just went straight up, straight down, you see all his ankle basically hit the floor. It's probably going to be a tough pill to swallow. So we'll talk about game action in a second with them against the Nets. But I just want to break down what the depth chart fallout is. And because it's not just point guard. A lot of guys are going to have to move around here. So the easy part is Tyus Jones is going to probably be starting. He got big minutes. We saw him, pretty much run away with the job in the second half. That's expected. Tyus Jones is a pretty good point guard. So after that, I think the fallout would be D'Anthony Melton, who's on the protocol right now, is not playing. But he can play 1 through 3, and he started out last year as the third string point guard. And now when he gets back, he would, assuming he beats Ja back, he'll likely be Tyus Jones' backup. Get to more on that in a second. And then we saw Grayson Allen start, and then Desmond Bane play behind him. Bane kind of outplayed him a little bit, so he's kind of pushing him because Dylan Brooks is playing straight 3. John Concar is behind him. And then Kyle Anderson was playing the point when Jones was on the bench, which basically made that kind of took Brandon Clark as a 5 off the table because Kyle Anderson had to play the 1. So this Ja Morant injury is affecting literally every position on this depth chart. So it's just huge. We'll talk about how the guys played in a second, but just want to lay out how it may look going forward just from a depth chart standpoint. Moving to the other injury news of the day, not too much, but Jimmy Butler is doubtful for today. Spo said the smartest decision right now is to not force it. He said we're treating it like the way we think is right currently. He also talked up playing Kendrick Nunn. He said Kendrick Nunn is a really good player. He's got a great knack for scoring and putting the ball in the basket. Looking at the Christmas game in the second half, Andre Iguodala had started the third quarter, but Avery Bradley saw a big spike in minutes, 17 second half minutes. Iggy got 15. Mo Harkless kind of got cut out, and we mentioned this on pre-Christmas when Jimmy was first starting to get dinged up, was Mo Harkless and Jimmy play together a lot. And we saw that happen in Christmas. When Jimmy kind of went away, Mo Harkless went away because they kind of liked them together. They're playing against Giannis, so I think Harkless could still get playing time because they're going to need him to. But I would watch out for him. And we also noticed that Spo likes Precious Achiuwa really with Goran Dragic. So I expect those two guys to have heavy pick-and-roll action in the second unit with a little bit more Avery Bradley kickouts, and he'll find minutes too with the first unit. But obviously, Tyler Hero and Bam are going to continue to be really big, impactful players. Hero's off to a really slow start. Had a really encouraging preseason with shot selection, but he's kind of forcing it a little bit right now. So I expect him to kind of get back in the groove. But we'll see. Butler's probably going to miss a lot of games. We saw him, he's got a coffee business to run. Let's talk some basketball with a little bit of news flavor because unfortunately we found out earlier on Monday that Spencer Dinwiddie is going to miss the season with an ACL. So here talked about that a little bit on the solo pod and more in depth. So definitely check that out. But let's talk about what we learned today. And that was Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot is the 3 now. I feel pretty confident based on the sub patterns, how we saw Taurean Prince get subbed with Jeff Green behind him, that TLC should be the guy that moves into the starting lineup with Kyrie and with Durant back. Joe Harris is obviously a 2. We kind of all thought that he was going to be the starter before this whole LeVert, the 6-man thing kind of started. So I think TLC is going to be a pretty good player. Obviously, he's been out of his mind the last 5 quarters. He's been playing great, so pretty good pickup. And then the other kind of takeaway here is Chris Chiozza getting 27 minutes. So I think Nash kind of envisions LeVert as still a 6-man because of how he used Chiozza. He likes that secondary ball handler. So I think LeVert still comes off the bench, kind of as I alluded to, with TLC in the first unit. Of course, LeVert's going to still get a ton of playing time, so you have to be encouraged by his output. but certainly TLC, LeVert look to be the big winners. Shaman has to get it going, and Bruce Brown just is not of tickling Steve Nash's fancy right now. To the Grizzlies side, Kyle Anderson, star of the show here, career high 28 points. Mentioned, saw some minutes at the 1, saw some minutes at the 3 was where he closed next to the 2 bigs. And Brandon Clark seen some minutes at the 4 there too, so that really helped him. And yeah, Tyus Jones playing a bunch of minutes. Desmond Bane playing some more minutes too, with Grayson Allen not playing his best basketball. So, and obviously Dylan Brooks is going to chuck without John Morant, his big pop and usage rate out there. But Kyle Anderson, man, we know the Grizzlies want to trade him, especially now if Morant misses a lot of time. But certainly interesting to see how that panned out, and even big minutes from Valanciunas, and that actually affected Jared Allen because Nash said he wanted to play big DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen because of how he matched up with Valanciunas. The Pistons did not have Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose for rest in the back-to-back, so we saw them start Sadiq Bey and Josh Jackson to fill in for them. Josh Jackson was awesome, 27 points for him, and man, he's been just filling in way beyond expectations. And Casey had said that he's been a surprise for us. That's a diamond in the rough. You hope you have in your program, and they're proud of him. He's been getting a ton of credit from this coaching staff, so I think he's here to stay for Josh Jackson. He great in transition, pretty good offensive player. Jump shot looks better too, so he's really carving out a nice role for himself. Super talented guy for his Suns days, and everything just went horribly for him with Memphis as well. Sadiq Bey got a bunch of shots. Casey said he was going to play, and he did. So props for him. Isaiah Stewart filled in behind Mason Plumlee for all the backup 5 minutes. This dude, I haven't seen much of him, but he's crazy. And Casey actually said that the young man plays so hard, he wears himself out. That's why we brought him here. So great sign. Jahlil Okafor, if he misses more time with his ankle injury, we could see more Stewart, more hustle stats from him. Sekou Doumbouya was probable. Some concern that he was not going to play because the Pistons tweeted something out, but he only got 10 minutes. And DeJuan Wright, pretty good job off the bench, and a little bit of overlap. And Casey had said that he likes playing DeJuan next to Killian because it allows Killian to relax and play. So that's great. And I'd rather have DeJuan Wright on ball for 20 minutes than him filling in and doing nothing for 28, 29. So if Rose misses more time, you could expect more out of DeJuan. And I mean, 18, 5, and 4 with 2 blocks and a 3. You can't really ask for much more than that. He's always been a fantastic per-minute player in the right role, so you should feel pretty good about DeLon. OKC, Dort, career high 26, had the 30-point playoff game, but regular season career high 26 points for him. Mentioned on Twitter today, his usage rate was really high in the opener, hit 20.0 in this game. Those would both be top 10 in all of last year. He's getting shots. He's dribbling more. He's driving more. He's not just that open 3 guy anymore. That's his main thing, but he could do more than that. He's really grown. So certainly a guy that he's not going to be this good, but I do think he's worth owning in season-long leagues right now. Darius Bazley was fine. George Hill's going to probably see maybe a night off on a back-to-back. We've seen Hamidou Diallo kind of sub in for him and play a little bit of point. Theo Maledon also getting a slight overlap with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and real solid rotation. You'd love to see their starters playing 22.3 minutes together. That's great. Pretty good continuity. We'll see if Horford also sits to possibly get Muscala and maybe some Pokashevsky center minutes, but real fun team to watch. And they're playing good ball. 1-1, had a win in the opening night and almost beat the Jazz. Second year in a row, the Jazz have really one of the easiest rotations to figure out. Mike Conley played great. Nice to see him kind of get going. Had a pretty good playoffs after just a disastrous year last year. So Conley kind of on the upswing here. Gobert as advertised. Donnie Mitch got Dorted. So he's off to a rough start. Really good buy low in season long. I expect Donnie Mitchell to kind of heat up here after a slow start. Rockets are still really shorthanded, got blown out. James Harden had 34 at the end of 3 quarters, didn't play in the 4th with garbage time. Christian Wood was Fuego to start the game with 11 points right out of the gate for the first 11 points. And David Nwaba made an impact too. He's a pretty good player. So we'll see what he can do. And obviously it's going to be Harden and Wood show until we see John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins come back. But just side note, Jason Tate is a beast, man. He's been really fun to watch. So we'll see what he can do. Hopefully gets maybe one more game before we see Wall and Cousins come back. Moving to the Nuggets, gotta look everything we see here. Jokic, baller. He's going to just be ridiculous. Every tracking stat says he's going to be a baller. Touches are insane. High post touches, offensive, more threes, more cuts to the basket. It's Jokic season. He's going to be in the running for number one this season, no question about it. Porter Jr. kind of a bounce back game from him, especially on defense, except for 2 bad fouls on James Harden. Malone kind of got in his ear a little bit. Malone, I also challenged him to get 10 boards. He got 9, said it was great for him. Also tucked up Gary Harris after kind of dogging him a little bit in the last game. Said he really works on his craft, so nice to see Gary Harris have a bounce back game as well. Monte Morris playing well, Will Barton playing well, all coming back together here for the Nuggets after their 0-2 start. Big W for the Blazers at Staples. Gary Trent Jr. basically picked up Melo's role after he got basically benched for Anthony Simons. Stotts, again, likes playing this 8-man rotation. We saw that last year, too. He loves playing his starters together. Really good rotation to have pieces in, especially when Melo sits. Rocco, big minutes. Airplane mode, big minutes. Dame's getting better here after a little bit of a slower start. And CJ's just smashing. Lurk had a better game, too. Lakers surprisingly playing LeBron James 36 minutes in this game. Anthony Davis returned from his night off. Great sign for LeBron. Amazing sign for LeBron. Not a great sign for Montrezl Harrell. He played horribly. He's had so many times when he just shouldn't play big minutes. We got to see more AD at the 5. We know it's a good winning combination for them. Maybe they'll start to bend on that. So we'll end on that. You guys have a great day. Catch you next time.